how I made this shit last. Burning down to the wake up call, to the sun grows cold, to the making it down. Judgment is what defines us, so deep out just to ease of dungeons. I'm clutching your bastard, you fight why I can't run. Why? It's not all your voice was begun, free run.
I did for her, she kept taking me for granted and showed no mercy in fading me away. But that time has come and gone, now everything we need is in our hands. So draw a line in the sand and repeat after me.
I won't look back to what cannot be changed. I won't look back to what cannot be changed. And I don't like the way you smile upon me. It wasn't meant to be.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is, please note. Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling that I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me the storm is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway. But you're looking all worse. Every time you hear these words, I'll be down the road, cause I got the odds are better on my side. Why don't you try to be wise? Help me, I'm calling you cry. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my
like that, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's party time, people. We are the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, the man beside me, the man with the angelic voice. I've got a damn cold, but I'm going to try this anyway. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how you doing on this Thursday night, my man?
I'm doing great, Munson, and that was not too bad considering your scratchy throat.
It got the best of me recently, so everybody be careful out there because cold and flu season is going around, and you don't want to be sick over the holidays. So make sure you're taking care. But yeah, I mean, the supply shortages is the biggest key here, Papa Smokes. They got no cough medicine on the shelf, so I got to turn to the old drink here. I heard whiskey takes care of things.
So do I. It's never failed me before, Munson.
That's right. So that's how we do it here. That's how we get better, get over the cold. A little bit of whiskey, maybe some Manuka honey. Get that sinuses and that congestion all cleared up. I'm going to do my damnedest to get through this whole thing. I'm sure I sound a little different than usual, but that's okay. We're still going to have a fun time because we're talking all things MLW. Papa Smokes. We had a great time watching MLW Fusion, and surprisingly, I know we said last week that they're taking a little bit of break. This part is true, but I got the dates wrong. They actually do have one more episode next week, and it is a big one that we're going to talk about here shortly as they revealed the two matches that are going to go down next week on the finale of 2022 when it comes to MLW Fusion. But here we are, starting things off inside the ring with two brand new faces to the MLW fold. We're talking about one, Cosmos. I was surprised by this name, never seen anything from Cosmos before. And then we got Star Rogers on the other side of things. Okay, time to see some new faces, get a feel for what these guys are. I don't feel we got that in this one. Before we start talking about the match more in depth, Auntie Woogie, how you doing? Thank you for joining us week after week. Awesome to see you here. Love having you here as we party with the Video Bros. But yes, this match, Papa Smokes, these two guys, I thought we were going to this is a middleweight division match. We get that one-on-one that we've longed for to get the feel for these middleweights. These guys were representing IWA Puerto Rico, and yet nothing about either guy stood out. It was hard to tell. It was one working babyface, one working heel. You couldn't really tell. It felt like there was just a lot of spots happening when it came to this particular matchup. And the length, holy jeez. For a total show that only ran 45-ish minutes, this match dominated the time on the card with 17 minutes of the show dedicated to this opening bout. Yikes. I was not impressed this time around.
I'm equally baffled, Munson, because we were talking about this as the match went on. It was I couldn't figure out where the booking was going in this match. I didn't know who was who. I didn't know who to cheer for because they both wrestled neutral. You know what I mean? There was no one being mean. There was no one being tough or disrespectful. Likewise, they both kind of tried to get cheers from the crowd and stuff in a babyface fashion. And I was very confused. And as for the rest of this match, it was kind of a typical lucha style match. But my God, the thing went on and on and on. These guys were good. I got nothing to say against the talent in this match. They were pretty all right, but for the amount of luchadors we see on this show Fusion, these didn't stand out as amongst the top ones at all. When we've seen Ares and Octagon Jr. and a whole bunch of these hotshot luchadors. These guys tried a lot of spots and tried a lot of stuff. I will always tip my cap to somebody that's trying hard, but nothing popped in this match, and I was starting to doze off a little bit.
Yeah, and two Spanish flies. The second Spanish fly, the one that finishes the matchup, and Star Rogers gets the pinfall victory. Again, I'm not trying to knock these two gentlemen or anything like that. It just this didn't feel like it clicked right. It didn't stand out. There just wasn't enough narrative, particularly in this one. And speaking of narrative, sometimes the narrative has to come from your commentating team. And that's something that we just learned recently, Papa Smokes. And, before I go to play a little bit of a clip here, good evening, Bastard69, our man Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Good evening, gents, he says.
Hey, missed you on the weekend, Bastard.
Yeah, exactly. Where the hell were you? The energy of the crowd was electric at PPW, but it needed a little bit of the Bastard flavor in there as well, too. So hopefully February the 18th, Saturday, February 18th. You're going to be back down there with the electric crowd in Saskatoon. And yes, he had the flu. And yes, as we said at the top of the hour here, flu and cold season is going around. As you can tell, I'm losing my voice as we speak, but I'm still going to try my best to continue to party on, because that's what we do here, Papa Smoke. But as I was saying, sometimes when you get a match like this, somebody has to tell the narrative. They have to tell you why you should care about these guys, what there is to like about them, the history of them, where they come from. And that's done by the commentary team. And one of those commentators on the card here tonight, as always, a good man, Rich Bocchini. And only a great man, a man that sat down with you and I for a half an hour interview just last night that's going to be airing here on our local establishment, on Video Bro, Bobby Munson Twitch, as well as on the Video Bros Network on YouTube. Tomorrow evening, you're going to be able to get the full interview with the Video Bros and Mr. Rich Bocchini. But right now, just for a moment, I'm going to play a short little clip for you guys from that interview so you know what's coming up from this thing.
I think the first thing that kind of drew me to broadcasting was music, actually. College radio, of all things. And I grew up in the Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, but greater Boston area. And, in the 90s, college radio was a big deal, right? 80s and 90s. And we had tons of great college radio stations. And if you were into music like I am, I'm a huge audiophile. That was the place at the time where you were able to find independent music as opposed to stuff that was on MTV. So I was like, oh, gee, when I go to college, I'm going to do college radio. So I did, and quickly realized that, being a DJ or whatever was not what I wanted to do.
So you'll be able to catch that in full entirety tomorrow evening. So check that out. Even after we went off of recording, Rich spent a little bit of extra time with us, chatting with the two of us. Man, it wasn't even so much trying to pick his brain, but the more he kept saying, the more I kept sitting there making notes, learning and absorbing everything that Rich taught us. And you know what? There is no price that you can put on what we got out of last night's sit down with Rich Bocchini.
Yeah, you got that. You got that right, Muntz. And that there's, for one thing, it was fun to meet him and have a nice conversation with a cool and intelligent guy. But I think he knew that we were starving for some good advice about some commentary, as we had told him about our positions at PPW and all that, and that we had been kind of thrown in the fire at the very beginning, sink or swim kind of position, and he was loving that. And of course, he's a hockey guy as well, so we get to talk about hockey because we're Canadian boys, and the chemistry was there. It was a good conversation and very enlightening. I hope all the fans tune in.
Yeah, exactly. Tune in for that. You'll even find out about how Rich Bocchini has some interesting ties to our good province of Saskatchewan. That coming up in that interview tomorrow night as well, too. We don't want to give everything away, so make sure that you tune in and like, sub, follow, all those kind of things, and go check out the work of Mr. Rich Bocchini. You can be seen as a part of the commentary team currently on MLW. He's been doing that for quite a few years. Also a part of Defy Wrestling and a lot of various different positions that he has held. Fantastic human being. Glad we got to do that. But back on to MLW Papa Smokes. We went to a recap from last week of what was the possible most awkward looking tackle, spear, whatever you want to call it, that we've seen this season, when Hammer tackled or jumped at EJ and Duca, and they went through that wooden crate that was there at ringside. We mentioned it last week about how awkward this looked. We're going to get to that in a second because I kind of think they've redeemed it a little bit at this segment. But first, they give an update on Alexander Hammerstone. He's had 52 stitches in his lower lip. They show a picture of him at the hospital holding his lip, blood everywhere. I mean, this looked absolutely gross. I mean, it's really kind of sold the idea that Hammer really had something happen in that fall.
Well, and I saw the tweet where he showed that injury too, and I was a little bit confused because he's obviously kept this video all this time from when that actually happened, or I don't know when it happened with the timeline of MLW, but at any rate, that was from that spot, and he was pushing his tongue inside against the lower part of his lip, and you could just see the cut opening. It was almost through to his teeth.
Yeah.
Pretty nasty little scar he's going to have there, but that's pro wrestling, baby, and any of that stuff's just a millimeter or a millisecond away.
And we're going to go now to why I feel like they might have redeemed what looked not like the greatest spot last week. It looked very awkward in the process. But then we get a reaction from BJ and Duca. He's in the parking lot getting out of his car. Camera guy comes running up and he goes, whoa, 6 feet back. You got to give me 6 feet, pal. I thought that was kind of comical to begin with. But then the judge starts dropping bombs and mentions that, hey, Hammer, he goes, you can't even spear properly. Leave the spears to the judge. You cannot tackle properly. He goes, you tackled me, and you're the one in the hospital. You're the one that's bleeding. You're the one with the cut in your lips. Leave that to the big boys. Leave that to the judge. Damn, EJ and Duke has been dropping bombs the last couple of weeks, Papa's folks. I'm digging this version of the judge. Uh-oh. And I don't know if it's me who is frozen up or if it is Papa Spokes who is frozen up. If anybody in the comment section can let me know if you are hearing me or what's going on. Are we back here, Papa
I'm
Smokes?
back. Yeah.
All right, there we go. I
now.
wasn't sure who it was there for a second, but we kept the show going. But yeah, damn, EJ and Duke are dropping the bombs as of late on MLW. I'm really enjoying this version of the boss. What are your thoughts?
He's good on the mic, isn't he? And he sounds convincing, and he's got a realness to when he speaks. And you and I have talked about it on the last couple of episodes since Induka's heel turn. He sounded really good, and I'm starting to get on board. I was a little iffy about EJ and Duka at first, but I'm getting well on board with this. And I also kind of wondered if they were making him into a top guy, a title contender too early in his career, perhaps. But I'm starting to think maybe this is the good time to pull the trigger on Induka versus Hammerstone and possible title change. We don't know what's going on in the world of Hammerstone, but I'm getting down with this feud, and as usual, MLW's taking their time, being patient, and building this up nicely.
Yeah, and Hammer's got a really big-ass target on his back right now because not only does he have the judge to worry about, he's also got Jacob Fatu to worry about too, because they did once again play the video from last week. Jacob Fatu looking like he was going to initiate his opportunity at the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. And that's what led us into the next video. We got backstage, the Swollen SWAT team, at least the tag team portion of it, Lance Anoa'i, a big juicy finale. And Lance is talking about how, hey, it's time to get serious. Party time is when we get the gold. We need to go after the tag belts. We need these championships. Fatu comes in, and the storyline then changes to talking about the world championship. They're talking about the Samoan SWAT team being able to hold all the gold, the world championship, the tag team titles. They want it all, and it sounds like Lance, especially, wants to get down and get serious. And, man, that's a different side of Lance that we've seen recently, but I like a serious Lance out of Hawaii. I like the Samoan SWAT team, and I like where this is going. I really strongly believe we're looking at, very soon, tag team champions of MLW.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going to. And you got to remember that Samoan SWAT team has been around MLW for a number of months now, including the break in the late part of the summer and early part of the fall. But I can understand the way Lance is looking at it. He's hungry for gold, and he wants his team to be acknowledged as the best tag team in their territory or in their federation kind of thing. And it also looks like they're giving Samoan SWAT team a pretty good push here, because we've seen them over the last 3 weeks. I think they've had 2 matches that were, more or less what they call squash matches now, where they got some job guys and beat the living piss out of them and drove them through the mat and got the Superfly press from Lance Anoa'i on top and everything. Just the kind of matches that build up a team, make them look, show all their strengths and make them look so powerful so that when they get that title shot, it's completely believable that they could possibly win the championship.
Yeah, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. I'm sure of it. And man, they have got the just a roster of tag teams over there right now. Young teams coming in as well too. I mean, we haven't even seen the debut of the Billington brothers as well too. I think they flashed on the screen. It looked like the new British Bulldogs or the new Bulldogs or something like that was a shirt that they've got developed already. So it seems like that's the direction they're going to go on that side of things. No harm there. Again, they part of that lineage. They might as well be, playing into it if they want to, especially get a couple of young guys over right now. I mean, this tag division is exciting, and I can't wait, especially if we get Samoan SWAT team versus Hustle and Power. That's going to be a lot of beef inside that ring.
Yeah, and I mean, when was the last time we saw Hustle and Power in anything meaningful like that? That's probably been since the springtime, right? They kind of mashed that team together of Nduka and Tankman, and I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good tag team. I mean, there's a lot of power there, but I think they just have different plans for Nduka in terms of a singles run. We haven't seen anything of Tankman for a long time, except he was in the Battle Riot. That's really the only thing we've seen of him, probably since I want to say June or July or something like that. But so yeah, I mean I don't like predicting booking that much, but it kind of seems obvious that the tag team title is going to change hands right away. Seems like the Samoan SWAT team is kind of Johnny on the spot team in the number one contenders position, and with that shot, it looks like they'll get it. But like you say, it's a pretty loaded division. They for a show Fusion that doesn't really show all that many tag team matches. They got a lot of tag teams there, and let's not forget about perennial favorites and often champions, the Von Erich brothers. If they're still with that company and coming back, we haven't seen hide nor hair of them in a long time either. But there's a bunch of teams, including some of those other teams, the guys that did the Spanish Fly, the
Los Maximos.
Yeah, they were repping them quite a bit for a while. I thought maybe they might have a run at the title or something like that. But yeah, all kinds of good action there. And then another second generation team with the Billington Bulldogs. And I mean, okay, they went with that name and using the Bulldogs. Those are huge shoes to fill as a tag team.
Oh yeah.
Because British Bulldogs have to be up there for one of the greater tag teams of modern wrestling kind of thing. But we'll see, man. Those guys are young, so the whole future is open for potential, and I wish them well. I pat them on the back, and let's see some matches. And what do you guys got? Let's show me in the ring.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that. Again, I haven't seen anything of them in the ring just yet, but looking forward to the opportunity to see them when that happens and see that tag division continue to light on up. So after this video package, we got another one. This is a promo from the monster himself, Mods Kruger, and he is one pissed off Mods Kruger, Pop Smokes. He does not like what old Manser's been pulling off lately. He does not like the smack talk. He does not like that he was costed his opportunity to go at Alexander Hammerstone, and he does mention that he will still be the one to dethrone the champion Alexander Hammerstone. He's not finished with Hammer yet, but in the meantime and in between time, he's got a problem with old Manser, and it sounds like Mods Kruger is ready to put the hurt down on old Manser.
Well, it's kind of interesting, too, when you think about the way that Mods Kruger was brought into MLW by Joseph Samael and Contra Unit as basically a mercenary. His sole mission was to destroy Hammerstone. Like, that was it, because Hammerstone was on the trail of Jacob Fatu's World Heavyweight Championship. But after all that's happened, after the dissolving of Contra Unit, after the Weapons of Mass Destruction match where Jacob Fatu defeated Mods Kruger by shoving his head into a crate of radioactive material and everything, it's like Kruger's still on that same mission that he was on before, just destroy Hammerstone. I like it. It kind of has a continuity in a way. It's funny in a way too, but I think it's clever that he's like the Terminator, kind of like he's got one mission that's his only programmed mission. It's just destroy Hammerstone. He'll do other things in the meantime, but he'll never stray from his main mission.
Now, here's something I hadn't thought of before, but is it possible that maybe that the attacks that have been happening backstage as of late, and we haven't seen one since Cesar's been gone recently, but could Mons Kruger possibly be behind them? You know, we want to talk about somebody who's borderline supernatural. He's definitely a monster in size and physicality. It is very possible, or at least more believable, the guy like Mons Kruger could be behind the recent attacks.
Yeah, that's who immediately sprang to mind once we started this little storyline. He's, like you say, he's a huge guy. He's a monster. He's a guy that could handle the job of possibly running through the entire roster. As we saw when Cesar was leaving the building for the last time, he had everybody down, like 15 guys or something. I could see Kruger getting away with this. It's either him, I think, or someone we don't know of yet.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough as that starts to unfold. Speaking of things unfolding, this is a point in the show where I started to realize we do have another edition of Fusion next week. So we will be giving you our regularly scheduled Fusion on Thursday nights next week, because we get a promo from Lady Flommer talking in her native tongue, going on about Taya Valkyrie and the challenge she has for the MLW Featherweight Championship next week on Fusion. That is going to be the main event. That title is on the line. Lady Flommer getting straight down to business. She's calling Taya out. She's telling her, I'm going to walk right through you. I'm going to take your belt, and I'm going to be the new champion. No harm at all in this. This was exactly what needed to be done, to the point, saying what you need to say, build up for next week.
Yeah, totally agree. I like it. And we covered that match last week when it happened, the four-way luchador challenge, and Lady Flammer looked quite good. They all looked pretty good, actually, but her in particular, and then she ended up winning it, and then cutting a promo this week to hype up the big title match for next week. She looks good. She spoke all in Spanish with subtitles. It sounded good. It sounded convincing. Her words were good. Her delivery was good. She looks great in her outfit and her mask and everything. I'm down, man. This is going to be a good match. I think Taya's championship might be in jeopardy here. Who knows?
Yeah, and we know they have a history together over in AAA as well, too. So it's going to be nice to see that unfold in an MLW ring in the main event of next week's Fusion. But also on that card, it's going to be a tables match. Omancer is going to be going up against Mons Kruger. And I did forget to mention that just before the Lady Flommer promo, we did have a video segment with Omancer. He was out hunting for Doc, a.k.a. Mons Kruger, out in the woods when he stumbles upon Microman, and Microman with a net is trying to catch butterflies. Omancer seems to love the shit out of Microman. Calls him big man, come on over, hang out with me. Grabs that net. He goes, here, we'll use this to go catch us some beers. Again, I'll say it again. It seems like everybody over there loves Microman. Everyone we talk to, they really like this guy. He's very well respected. And we got Astrid joining us here tonight. Hey, fellas. Hello, Astrid. And thank you for joining in. And again, if you want to find out what went down on the latest edition of Impact Wrestling, join Astrid and Cody later tonight for Making an Impact at their wonderful show they got going on over there. And I also made a promise to a good buddy, Jimmy M. He's jobbed out wrestling. He's got a brand new video coming your guys' way. I believe this one revolves around a certain time frame dealing with Perry Saturn. So definitely check out Jobbed Out Wrestling for his next video as well, too. Said I'd give him a shout out on the show tonight. So there it is for you, my man. But yes, so we've got next week. Now it comes down to Omancer. Who knows? Maybe he's going to have Microman in his corner because he seems to love him. We know that everyone we've spoke to seems to love him. They want to protect Mr. Microman. He could be in the corner next week of Omancer, but he could be in the line of danger because it's a tables match. Nothing for rules. And you're unleashing the monster Mons Kruger in there. This one's going to get absolutely ugly, Papa Smokes.
Yeah. And we've seen Mance Warner's matches a few years ago. They always go like that. It's going to be, somewhat a hardcore match, somewhat a brawl. I don't like, he has some stuff I've seen that's hardcore, but I think of Mance as more of a brawler in the old school sense, is that a lot of this will just occur outside of the ring. Lots of underhanded tactics, but not overboard on the gimmicks and stuff. I hope not anyway. But at any rate, I've been anticipating this match for a while. This is two good guys, two good dance partners, so to speak. I think some intense violence will go on in this match, and we're gonna like this, I think. And we'll get, we get to see Mance again. I haven't seen any of his matches in a couple of years, and he's entertaining. He's a good performer, and we all know how I feel about Mads Kruger. A little bit terrified, but quite respectful also.
That's right. We never want to lip him off or anything like that. But we'd love to have him on the show. So I think I might have to dig a little deeper, see if we could get Mads Kruger to step on an episode of Fusion coming up. I think that would be a lot of fun, or maybe our dying wish anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that, Munson.
No, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, Papa Smokes. Up next, this was a fun segment because we got our good buddy Alex Kane, the suplex assassin, leader of the Beaumont Fight Club. He's outside and he's got the Opera Cup, but wait, Papa Smokes, it's not the Opera Cup anymore. It is now the Beaumont Cup of the Gods, because Alex Kane, like he said, is a god himself, and that Opera Cup is his. And like I said it, damn it, Alex Kane, you're the best holder of that Opera Cup since Stu Hart, and I'm saying it right here, live on the show as well, too.
Yeah, and here's another guy that's just working the mic so good. He always has, really, but it seems like Alex Kane is getting even more comfortable behind the mic. He cuts some real good promos. He's a funny guy, but as we learned in our interview, but he keeps it pretty serious on this. But the guy's overflowing with charisma, as is Mr. Thomas. We don't see him speak on Fusion, but same thing. Just absolutely can cut a good promo. Sounds convincing. He's one of those bad guys or villains that you actually want to like, and he does a good job of that. I love Alex Kane, and I'm looking forward to him getting a rematch back for the Opera Cup and the National Openweight title.
You know what scares me about Alex Kane, outside the fact that he could kick the living daylights out of me in a second, is the fact that he is getting so good to the point that I worry that somebody is going to pluck him away from MLW sooner rather than later. I know that for his sake, that's a good thing, but for our sake as fans, it's a terrible thing.
No, it's the same thing as being a Canadian football fan too. You want the players on your team to do good, but if they do too good, they're heading down south for the big money, and you have to wish them well on the way out, but you just think, man, we lost you for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to happen for Alex Kane sooner rather than later. Again, he's just still young in his career. He's hopping up the charts. People are paying attention. And we're going to be paying attention next time he steps inside an MLW ring, and hopefully that will be very soon. And he's wearing that Beaumont Cup of the Gods very proudly right now. And congratulations, Alex Kane, on being the Beaumont Cup of the Gods champion.
Well, that also adds a little bit of spice to the next upcoming Opera Cup, too, is because who's actually in possession of this cup? If Alex Kane doesn't win it in the ring, will he agree to hand it over to the winner? It just adds a little bit more intrigue to the whole thing. And, somebody's going to be pretty pissed off in the final if they don't think they're going to get their trophy, just like last year. So I think he's going to snake his way in there and win the whole thing, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, I don't think he needs the snake. They better put him in the damn Opera Cup. That's all I could say. I think it was a shame he wasn't in last year's Opera Cup, so he better be in this one. But, we are getting to that point in the show, Papa Smokes. But before we go ahead and talk about the last segment, we'll get there in a moment. We just want to thank our sponsor, Rogue Energy. You see the QR code down below, Papa Smokes, right there. You can hit up that QR code or head to rogueenergy.com. Use the promo code OLEPODS for 10% off your order. Rogue Energy is the alternative to the energy drinks you find in the store. If you're looking for a low-sugar, vegan-friendly, low-calorie alternative, then they are the answer for you. We're going to play a short reel all about the flavors you can find from our good friends at Rogue Energy. We'll be right back. And that is RogueEnergy.com. People are raving about the awesome flavors that they deliver, so go check them out. But Papa Smokes, it's that time of the night. Every Thursday night, we get to that point of the show. I'm going to try it, my man. Here it goes. It's time for the main event of the evening. This match is scheduled for one fall and is for the MLW National Openweight Championship. Woo. I don't know. I might have to throw in the white flag after that one.
Hey, you got it out, Munson. That's the main thing. The show must go on all the time.
That's right. Sick or not, I'm going to keep this thing going. And Chris Parrish, what up, my man? How are you doing? Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a good night. And again, Chris Parrish and I can be seen every Sunday on Bustin' Out. See, I'm even getting the brain fog at this point in time. But yes, Bustin' Out on Sundays with my man right there, my brunch buster brother, Chris Parrish. Find out just how far off the rails we're going to go again this Sunday. Join us there. But Papa Smokes, we're talking main event. We're talking National Openweight Championship. We're also talking about another big debut coming out of Dragon Gate. We recently saw just last week, Shun Skywalker be crowned the new MLW middleweight champion. And this week, we're getting the debut of SB Kento. Can Dragon Gate get the best of MLW 2 weeks in a row and take back 2 MLW championships to their company? One thing we did know right away, SB Kento wearing his merchandise, his shirt inside the ring, at least at the start of the match, very much like Shun Skywalker. It seemed like they were really trying to push the fact that they have merch available. Come buy our shirts. SB Kento's is kind of neat. SBK play on the Heartbreak Kid, obviously. He's got a good look to this kid, and as we saw during this match, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, I dig in SB Kento. He stood out a lot more. This is the kind of debut you want to see. We saw great things out of Shun Skywalker. He was exciting. Now we're getting SB Kento. I think Dragon's Gate got a lot to offer in terms of bringing talent over to MLW.
It certainly seems like it, and just like Shun Skywalker last week, Kento showed a lot of skill in this. As they were telling us, a young guy too, 22 years of age, but he looks like he's got a lot more ring hours under his belt than that. And I also thought this guy looked pretty good. He's totally got that Japanese style, which is cool, which is what we like to see in MLW because we get the fusion style and all that. But
styles make matches, as they said more than once during this.
Yes, that's totally right in watching this show. But this was a pretty cool match. They set a big time slot aside for this one, a full-on 15 minutes or something. I guess not as much as for the curtain jerker earlier, but still a fairly long match and not too bad. I liked this, and at least Kento came in working like a kind of an arrogant heel kind of character, and Davey Richards, the perennial crowd favorite, kind of, they want to do the howl. They want to see him do his good moves. He's always got a good match, just right on the end of his thumb, ready to go at all times. And this was like many of his other matches that we've seen. He's very good. He's very versatile, and he's got the kind of skill that he doesn't have to do the same match every time. He can mix it up because he's just got that skill to do his stuff and to do various moves and reversals from any position.
Yeah, and you bet. And the cynical MLW crowd, of course, given an SBK chant after they started to see what SB Kento brings to the table. He did go to the outside with Davey, removed his shirt, used it to start choking. That was the moment you knew, okay, this guy's working as a heel. And then we saw at one point, too, when he could have gone for one of these flashy type moves, and he gave an eye rake, a good old classic eye rake to Davey Richards. That was a nice touch.
I like that, too. And in today's day and age, for a wrestler that young of 22 years, this guy's getting taught well. He's getting taught that sometimes you're going to work as a babyface, sometimes you're going to work as a heel. You got to know the tricks of the trade. You have to know what to do, when and where. And just like you said there was an opportunity to do a nice reversal or a nice spinning hurricanrana type move or whatever, and instead he goes for the gouging of the eyes and just perfect. Got a huge reaction from the crowd and no risk to his own body or anything like that. Same reaction from the crowd. Perfect. Good stuff.
Look at that. A big old subscribe from Chris Parrish. Thank you, Chris Parrish, for the subscribe tonight.
Yeah.
Getting in those subscribes here on Twitch will get you an ad-free experience. If you want to avoid the ads here on Twitch, then you go ahead and throw a sub our way. We appreciate it. It helps us out, and it's going to help all the creators here at our local establishment be able to bring you bigger, better shows as we continue to grow here as a team. But yeah, this match again, has there been a bad Davey Richards match since he's joined MLW? Like you said, he adapts the style to working with different people, but yet still has his own flavor built into the match. We know that he tends to have that opportunity to go for a big pin after a big move, a big power move. If it gets kicked out of by his opponent, and again, here's where our friend Rich Bocchini came into play again, says that he gets that opening, that perfect opening to turn them over into an ankle lock, into the trailer hitch, using that ability to use his ground and pound MMA type style fighting to really work his opponent. And we saw him lock the trailer hitch on SB Kento in this one at one point. Kento, great ring awareness though. He managed to get his body turned to the other part of the ring where he was closer to the ropes, got the rope break on that. But this wasn't going to be SB Kento's night because the second time around, this time with the ankle lock, Davey had him in the middle of the ring. Kento had nowhere to go. He held on for a while, looking tough as nails, but he inevitably had to tap. Davey Richards retains the National Openweight Championship. Great matchup, great debut from SB Kento. He does not look bad in defeat here at all. He looks like someone who's going to be a danger, especially if they start throwing him in the middleweight championship division. Imagine Shun Skywalker and SB Kento locking up.
Or a Myron Reed or a number of middleweights in that category too. And but in this particular match, Richards just never gives up. And he's like one of those hardworking babyface wrestlers that gets the crowd behind them because he works hard. He knows he can do it. The fans get behind him and believe he can do it too. And that's the rush of getting behind a babyface wrestler. And if you follow Davey Richards in his everyday life, I follow him on Twitter, and you get a little glimpse into his life. He's kind of one of those people that, is almost a little bit superhuman, even in his real life, because he has been studying to become a first responder medic. And he's also training in his jiu-jitsu dojo, of which he runs it all, including opening it, cleaning everything, mopping the mats down afterwards, make sure nobody gets sick from everybody rolling around on there. He does all that, never mind the professional wrestling. And a guy like him on the indies, that involves a lot of traveling. So, I mean, imagine the hours this guy puts in every day. Plus, he's got a wife and a kid and stuff like that, too. It just, I never can believe how people have so much energy to get so much done in every day. That's kind of what Davey Richards brings to his wrestling persona, so to speak, is just everyday guy, but he's working hard, and that's the thing. That's why he presses forward and is big in the wrestling business, because he works hard and he uses every hour of every day.
We got Chris Parrish coming in now. I thought Angelina was the first responder in the household. Parrish, you bundle of fun. So yeah, again, I really enjoyed this match. I think it made, the promos on this night were good. I liked the promos. I liked the matchup here, this final matchup. The opening segment wasn't our cup of tea. It just really didn't click for us. But outside of that, it did have a long spot. The rest of this card was solid. The matchup at the end, the promos in between, this worked. I liked it as a whole. We did get a Davey Richards interview after, and I'm watching, and I know you said it as well too, taking a look behind Davey Richards, thinking that the Beaumont Fight Club was going to come out and jump him, because it seems like week after week, there has been an afterbirth within these segments. Someone has come out and got jumped. An attack has happened. We're looking at clock thinking it's quarter two. There's no way this thing is over. But it was over. Davey gave his interview. He said, he had some words for Alex Kane. He said that with Alex Kane, this isn't just a one-off thing. This is a forever thing. Like him and Alex Kane, he said it right there. There will never be an Alex Kane and Davey Richards friendship at all. This is a fight that will never stop at this point, because that is how deep this feud goes.
Strong words, and strong words necessary to make a good build for a feud matchup, possibly a blow-off feud matchup. But as Richard says, it'll never be over, and this just is another way to whip the fans into this match. And yeah, I also thought with that much time remaining in the show that somebody's going to come out. It's obviously going to be Kane and Mr. Thomas, and jump them a little bit. It always seems like everybody that gets interviewed by Bocchini after their match at ringside, that's like the death zone. You know, that's where Jacob Fatu got the beer bottle over the head from the real one, and Taya Valkyrie just got attacked by Lady Flammer outside the ring, and same thing with Nduka and Hammerstone also. That happened after the match, and yeah. So that's the danger zone there. So I was also looking over his shoulder to the aisleway, but alas, nobody came. We just got some prophetic words of promised destruction.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of glad that it went that direction personally. It was kind of nice to see it end on that note. Davey Richards getting his words in, leaving it there. There's enough intensity within this feud. You don't really need to have another jumping to really set the blood feud in place. These two hate each other. And when they lock up once again, and who knows, maybe that will be your final of the Opera Cup the next time around. Davey Richards versus Alex Kane, part 3. It is a very strong possibility.
I could totally see that. And even though it's a part 3, I would go for that 100 times over, because I already know that's a good matchup and I'd like to see more.
You damn straight about that, Papa Smokes. But yeah, that was the night of MLW Fusion there. And again, we've got that big card next week. We got the MLW Featherweight Championship on the line as Taya Valkyrie defends against Lady Flammer. And then the tables match, Kruger taking on Old Manser, Mance Warner. Should be a great time, and you're going to be able to join us right here after the show to find out our thoughts on it. And also, as always, to cheer and party. I know it's not coming through very good as I'm using the digital backgrounds now. But yes, in the meantime and in between time, Papa Smokes, we got some good friends out there that want to know, where can they find old Papa moving forward?
Hey, remember the White Rabbit, Munson, when that was the big thing for a while?
Yeah,
maybe I'm getting it here going.
Maybe Papa Smokes is the White Rabbit.
Yeah, maybe I was all along. Maybe I'm Uncle Howdy.
Oh, never know. But where can the good people find you, Papa Smokes?
All right, I'm on Twitter, also known as Elon Musk's free speech wonderland, only $8 a month. I am at smokes_papa, and then I'm on Twitch. I'm at papa_smokes_.
That's awesome. And you can find me again, like I said, on Sunday with my man Chris Parrish for Busting It Out. You can catch a new edition of Beats and Downs every single Wednesday for the current season with Carl Kiffel and myself. And again, as always, on Thursday nights here with Papa Smokes for Fusion. Going to have some cool stuff coming up towards the end of the year here as well. So expect a lot more stuff from us here at our local establishment. If you are joining us on Twitch, we are going to go ahead and raid our good friend Heel Kevin right now. So give him a lot of love over there. I say hi. Yes, if you're watching on YouTube, hang tight because you are going to be seeing the outro video as we leave you for the evening. But we thank each and every one of you for joining into Fusion like you do all the time. And we're looking forward to next Thursday night for another party night. Video Bros and all our party animals out there. Cheers to you, and we'll see you next Thursday.